Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P. Entertainment and K.L.P. Studios. Go! It's K.L.P. Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform. Go!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, buddy. Boy, howdy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting podcast here today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the K.L.P. Aftermath podcast presented by iHeartMedia. Thank y'all for tuning in for the show. Y'all had to get a double take. A double take when it comes down to K.L.P. Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy, howdy. I'm your gracious, highly favored podcast host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas here in the building. Yeah, buddy.
You're tuned into the swanky one, new K.L.P.
Yes. All right. So welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank y'all for tuning in for the episode here today. This is the official Welcome Back podcast from Chicago. Let me tell y'all all about it, of course. We're going to talk about the trip as well. But I do want to give a shout out to everybody who helped put together the K.L.P. Entertainment radio station hub. It is available right now on all social media links in our social medias of Instagram. You can click the link, but I'll give you guys the website name is K.L.P. Entertainment, all one word, KLP Entertainment. .ismyradio.com. Again, that's klpentertainment.ismyradio.com. That is the official radio station hub that everybody can go out and take a look. We premiere all of our shows. We've got my DJ mixes, the previous ones from Chicago. We'll talk about Chicago in a second. That's on the radio station hub. You have What Happened Was podcast with me and Evelyn is also on the radio station hub as well. Our new show, again, a little surprise. A lot of people didn't think this was going to happen, but it did. The Johnny and David Show. Johnny and David, they were out there with us in Chicago to help us cover the story of the National Medical Association. Again, we'll talk about Chicago in 2 seconds. But shout out to Johnny and David. You guys are awesome if you're watching the show. We're just trying to innovate K.L.P. Entertainment, right? Anytime we try to innovate K.L.P. Entertainment in the most spectacular way, then we try to do it off really well. And we ended up doing it really, really well. A lot of you guys loved the Johnny and David show. I know they were talking about the medical conference. They'll talk about more juicy topics of conversation as they continue on their journey with us. But this past weekend, it was all medical. That was kind of their launch of their show on the platform. And we hope that you guys enjoy the content that Johnny and David gives us for the radio stations as well. So again, innovating. I love it. Down to Eden Prime Horizons, our latest new TV show. New episode comes out tomorrow. I know, obviously, we had to push last week behind because obviously we were traveling and everybody was gone within the last weekend and the half of this week, right? So new episode is coming back for that as well. Really, really dope. Really, really dope with K.L.P. Entertainment. We have a lot of things cooking up for that as well. Now, let me talk to you guys briefly about how Chicago went. First and foremost, I got to send my thank yous and thank you for the support for quite a few organizations, right? I'm thankful for K.L.P. Entertainment. I'm thankful for ProMed Consultings, LLC. If you guys don't know by now, that is our medical company that is partnered up with K.L.P. Entertainment, right? Obviously, that is the family company that we got. And big thanks and shout out to the National Medical Association, to which K.L.P. Entertainment, ProMed Consultants, and we are official members of the National Medical Association. Very, very, very dope. What the conference was, the NMA is what it's called, the National Medical Association. It is a conference assembly that happened in Chicago, and everybody who is dabbling into the medical industry, whether you are a doctor, whether you are a medical student, a nurse, a business manager for hospitals, right? you got to attend this conference in Chicago, obviously being one of the executives, 1 out of 5 executives for ProMed Consulting's on the, I'm director of media relations, that side of things. So just trying to create content. Obviously, that was my role, create content, whether it's video and photography at the conference. I was able to attend the conference. And let me tell you, I will say this, there is a lot of education in this thing. There's a lot of knowledge in these things. There are a lot of MDs, medical doctors, that were in this conference. I felt really, really great to be in that room of doctors and be more inspired to just listen to them. Now, as you guys know, I will become a doctor myself in 2027, not on the medical side, but I will become a doctor on the business side as I get my philosophy degree in 2027. So that I can't wait to go back to the National Medical Associations in 2027. So I can, on my name tag, it'd be Dr. Kennedy Patterson. I can't wait for that. But just to be in that room and to hear insight and to hear knowledge, to hear how each other doctors and practitioners and executives perform their business. Now, we didn't have people that, we had a lot of people from Atlanta, obviously, but people were coming from all over the place, right? Yeah, Indiana, Wisconsin, some people from Texas, some people from California, some people from North Dakota, some people from Washington, right? Some people from Florida. Everybody who was practicing in this field were able to attend this thing, down to doctors, executives, nurses, practitioners, right? Really, really dope to do as well, to be at that conference. Again, it was really good. We went to a lot of seminars. We filmed one thing for a film. We filmed another thing for the Johnny and David show. We filmed, so my mom, she's our CEO. She had to do a speech. So of course, obviously we had to film that. So it's a lot of great things, T, in audience, that a lot of people are going to dabble into. And I'm humbled. I am blessed to have been a part of that conference. I can't wait for the next year, the next go around for the conference. The National Medical Association was really, I can't say it's for us, by us on this one, because there was a lot of different skin color, a lot of races, a lot of religion there, which is cool, right? But this is very important because you see mostly people of color, right, in this organization. So just to see that there's a lot of black and brown familiar faces there at the conference is pretty good too, just because they're very, very knowledgeable. And a lot of these doctors went to Morehouse. Some of these female doctors went to Spelman, right? Howard University. I heard a lot of Howard University people were there. You know, they're saying is when you say HU, the other person says, you know, if you went to Howard University. I think I would have been different if I went to an HBCU. I didn't go to an HBCU. I went to Georgia Gwinnett College. Love that school. That's my school. I got to rep my alma mater. I got to. But if I would have been to an HBCU, that would have been very impactful too. But that was the ins and outs. It was at the Hilton Hotel in Chicago, one of the bigger Hilton hotels in Chicago. Very, very cool to attend that event. We've got a lot of video, a lot of content out of it. I was there working, so it was a work thing for me. Chicago. I will say, if you guys haven't been to Chicago, that is a place that you want to go to. Chicago is very, very unique. I'm always going to say this about Chicago in a respectful way. Hopefully they don't find it disrespectful, because I know a lot of people who live in Chicago hate being compared to New York. And I'm sorry, but that's the only place I can really compare. I can't compare Chicago to Atlanta. I love Atlanta, but we're not big like Chicago. Chicago is a big city. Chicago is like a miniature New York, right? New York is the biggest city we've got in the States, right? I think. Chicago is second or third place from New York. You got to say it. Chicago is very, very beautiful. I'm glad we went this time in July where it's a little bit warmer. Now, we went to Chicago for another medical conference back in December, and that was really cool. That trip was fun. It was cold as ice, right? Because it was the wintertime. It was December. It was windy. Chicago is the windy city, right? So just imagine going to Chicago, windy city, about 40, 30 degrees, and it's windy. It was very, very chilly when we went to Chicago, but we got it done, right? So this time around, going back to Chicago, where it's nice summertime, a little wind, right? It just hits you just right. The wind hits you just right outside. It's hot, but it's not too hot, right? Very, very fantastic to go to Chicago this time around in July. I've done so many things alongside the medical conference. Obviously, you guys can go check out on mixcloud.com/DJ Kennedy Lucas. Again, that's mixcloud.com/DJ Kennedy Lucas, or klpentertainment.ismyradio.com. That's our radio station hub where we performed our DJ mix sets. Of course, it was me, DJ Auraflex, and DJ Dream Static. We were able to do our thing. Me and Auraflex was on the pre-show, and then me and Dream Static, we did the finale show, both being over an hour show of DJ mixing music and people having a great time listening to it. So I can't express that so much to all the DJs that's partnered up with us now. Thank y'all. Auraflux, Dream Static, and more DJs coming soon. That event was very, very cool. We streamed it on Mixcloud. It's available on demand now on mixcloud.com, and then the radio station hub. You guys can take a look at it. Again, I think the pre-show, as of right now, the pre-show did 5th in Ostrack hip hop. I'm trying to see what I can't remember what the finale did in the charts yet. I haven't checked it, right? We came straight to the studio this morning. This morning to work on some stuff, and now we're doing the podcast. But I'll announce the pop charts of the finale. Great turnout all around. It is very, very good. Really, really dope to see all of those things going out for sure. And it's been one hell of a ride for the DJ mix sets. It was just quite amazing just to see, just the record of the DJ mix set. It is quite amazing, and I'm here for it. I love it, and I just hope that we continue doing this thing. I really do hope we continue DJing and giving you guys our all when it comes down to our shows for sure. And also, I was able to run in the city, right? I do encourage people, if you do run in the city, let me tell you, I've run here in Atlanta. I've ran in the city, right? I've got my exercise in the city when I worked in the city. Yeah, so just running in the city of Chicago is quite amazing. It's one of those things that I genuinely enjoy doing, T, and audiences out there in the world. I enjoy doing that the most simply because it has been very, very impactful for my exercise. It's a great way to get in shape. Running in the city. I do say in Chicago, there's a certain time frame you have to go, right? You don't necessarily want to navigate through Chicago like midday where people are jetting to work, or early afternoon where people are still jetting to work or jetting from work, and you have to navigate through people. That's hard to do. But I will say this. Running through the city is quite amazing. It's one of those things that I just tremendously love doing. It's been very, very impactful, again, to my fitness, my health. So I do recommend people going out and working out and doing your thing, enjoying a great time running in the city. The food is amazing in Chicago, as always. We went to Wilma's Barbecue Tavern. So good. Barbecue, chicken wings, lambs, fries, mac and cheese. Obviously, I didn't eat all of that. I got the chicken wing, barbecue chicken wings and fries. My brother had the lamb chops. I think my mom had the wings and fries too. And our Tony, my mom's boo thing, I think he got the chicken wings and fries as well. So it's been, Wilma's barbecue is really, really good. The waitress there was fantastic. She was awesome. She really gave us a lot of great tips and a lot of great things to go throughout the city. Very, very good restaurant. And the famous other restaurant I went to is called Soul Vibes in Chicago. Obviously, we've been there back in December. So, yeah, we're going to be there again this time around in Chicago in July. And it's been very, very impactful for that. That restaurant doesn't disappoint. Of course, they have the salmon bites, the chicken and waffles, the water. Again, I drank a lot of water. So that was pretty good. And I think that was really the main attractions we went to in Chicago. Last week, we went to the Outlet Mall and we went to a museum. We didn't do that this time because we were on a business trip, so we didn't have time to do all of that this time around. I think us being on a business trip, going to the National Medical Association, and just really having a great time. It's one of those things that, hey, I, I love just going to those things and just having a great time, right? Very, very dope. Chicago, let me tell you, very, very good. I always recommend Chicago for anybody who wants to go. There's a lot of people that was touring in Chicago this time around. Obviously, there are the millions of people that live there in Chicago, in the city. Don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do the traffic, walking across the street, being busy. Don't know how they do it in the city, but they do it. A lot of people who are veterans there, who live there. There's a lot of surprisingly, there was a couple of basketball women's, what looks like high school women's basketball teams there in Chicago for some sort of tournament. So that was kind of cool to see, you know. And of course, doctors, medical personnel that was there at the conference. They were there as well. Very, very touristy. A lot of people taking pictures. I do recommend people going out there again if you guys want a dope time and a very, very fun time doing it. Go to Chicago. You will not be disappointed when it comes down to Chicago's needs. Is very, 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 very dope. Chicago has been splendid. Now, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to get kind of the morbid pieces out the way. This podcast is not going to be a sad podcast, I promise, right? Because I do got to talk more about this show that I'm watching. But there's been what's been weird. Within the last few days, we've seen 3 big celebrity deaths. And I want to say it's kind of like taboo, right? But it's real. This thing does happen, and I'm kind of nervous about it, right? I gotta say, rest in peace first to Malcolm Jamal Warner. If you guys don't know Malcolm Jamal Warner, fantastic actor, still working, or still was working. He played his famous character of Theo Huxtable in The Cosby Show. He was the son. I've seen him in The Cosby Show. I've seen him in one of the episodes of what's called Accused. That is a good show. The show Accused. Very, very dope show. He was in one of the episodes. And just to see that Malcolm Jamal Warner has an extensive resume of acting other than Theo Huxtable is quite amazing when it comes down to it. It is one of those things that I genuinely love it when actors have a wide range. He's an American actor and musician. He's from Jersey, but he's been in Atlanta for a while now, doing some things here in Atlanta. I gotta say, this is someone who passed away that's gone too soon. I gotta say it, because let me tell you about Malcolm Jamal Warner's extensive resume presented by IMDb page. Of course, The Cosby Show, that's his most famous one, Theo Huxtable. Malcolm and Eddie, that was kind of his own spinoff solo show that he had between himself. Of course, Read Between the Lines, that was another TV series that he was a part of. Fool's Gold, that was a good movie. He plays Cordell in that movie. That was a funny movie. All around. Accused, Kendall Gamillion. Of course, that was one episode that he was in, because in Accused, that was just kind of one show spinoff. He played Dustin Atman in The Irrational. I've seen that episode. The Irrational, the show is really good. I've seen that episode. He plays Garnell in Grownish, right? He was part of a podcast series, Not All Hood podcast series, 14 episodes in. I'm just very, very sad about this. Now, reports say that his death was very unfortunate of a drowning incident in Lemon, Costa Rica. I think he was in the water in Costa Rica just on vacation, and maybe the tide got to him too soon, and he ended up drowning in Costa Rica, which was very, very sad to say. When this news broke out, obviously we were in Chicago, and it broke my heart to hear that. And then my mom was there, and I said, hey, Michael Jamal Warner died, Theo died. So it is very, very sad. A lot of actors and actresses posted him on social media because they worked with him. He was a still working actor. It wasn't that he stopped at Theo Huxtable. He had some predominant more roles, right? So I get very, very nervous about it simply because it's one of those things that this was a very, 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 very unfortunate death for this young actor. Um, it sucks. And he had a daughter, I think an 8-year-old daughter. So you can only imagine how sad that's gonna be when it comes down to um, being able to know that your daughter was drowned, or sorry, your dad was drowned, and now your daughter is just there, and now she's wondering where her dad is. So that's very, 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 very unfortunate. And I got to send out my rest in peace to Michael Jamal Warner, American actor and singer. And what's weird about it too, 2 days later, Ozzy Osbourne died. So very, very unfortunate for that as well. He's an English singer songwriter, metal um, songwriter. He died in United Kingdom at the age of 76. Very, very, very sad for him because he just did a final performance somewhere not too long ago. So that again is really weird taboo, right? Now he was in Black Sabbath, obviously the Ozzy Osbourne band. Um, that's his band, right? Very, very sad to see him go. I knew of Ozzy Osbourne as the singer artist, and he made a couple of TV appearances. He had his own TV show. He's been in WWE, right? So I knew of him. I don't know all of his songs because I wasn't in that generation. I wasn't born in that generation. But I knew of Ozzy Osbourne being the social media light. I mentioned WWE because 2 days later, today, as the time of this recording and tonight, Hulk Hogan died today. Now, very, very, very sad for Hulk Hogan. Now, obviously, this one's political. It is very, very political. I get it, right? I gotta say, I've watched Hulk Hogan, not when he first wrestled, because I wasn't in that generation. My dad watched that generation, obviously, was in that generation a little bit. I wasn't in that generation of old Hulk Hogan. I was in the generation of new Hulk Hogan, NWO Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, right? Hulk Hogan did not look good, right? There was a latest photo of him where his eyes looked bug-eyed. It looked like he could barely breathe. He looked sick, right? So when I find out that Michael Jamal Warner passed away, and then 2 days later Ozzy Osbourne, and it's weird taboo, right? But some people might say that, hey, this thing happened in three waves, right? 3 people die within the span of few days, right? And I didn't call it. I didn't call for Hulk Hogan's death. Obviously, I want all these people to still be living. But after Ozzy Osbourne died, and the news headline goes that Hulk Hogan can barely breathe, Hulk Hogan does not look well, Hulk Hogan looks sick, something told me that's like, oh, Hulk he's about to pass. He's about to pass. So I woke up getting ready for the gym. I flipped on Instagram. Hulk Hogan dead at 71. And now all the other news outlets they're coming out, and it's been made that Hulk Hogan, WWE legend, is now dead at 71. It is weird. It is the weirdest thing, guys. I gotta say, it is the weirdest thing with these celebrity deaths that happen in 3 waves. I do gotta say again, because I want all these people to live, and I gotta say, the human in me gotta say, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. I know a lot of people can say that, he was very political, he was very racist. There was a lot of political things that go on with Hulk Hogan. That is true. Not gonna dismiss that. That is true. But you don't really want to wish, you want to wish rest in peace to the people who are now gone, right? So very, very sad to see all 3 of these celebrities gone. Rest in peace to, again, Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, Michael Jamal Warner. that is it's just weird taboo. There's not much I can say about that. It is just a weird taboo when it comes down to these deaths around nowadays. It is the strangest thing, but it does happen. It does happen when it comes down to it. Um, but it is one of those things that it happens. But rest in peace to those all of those three celebrities. Now I do have. Now I'm trying to turn it to a more lighter note here on the podcast here today on the K.L.P. Aftermath podcast. Now, I need to do a show review because I started to watch this. Now, this will be kind of semi half review because I haven't finished. But I'm loving the fact that Netflix is having more more shows out there that are good to me, right? Now, I actually do like this show. This show is good for what it is. I do hope they get renewed. Obviously, I do. I will say to a lot of people right now, because I will say this, not trying to get gross, not trying to get weird on the show, but when it comes down to my preference, I think we did a preference thing. I don't have a specifically I don't cater to one skin color. If you like, I like all kinds of skin color. When I go for my girls and who I attract, it's all about the personality to me. It is what it is. It's all about the personality when it comes down to it. Usually, some people might say, a lot of people might want to watch shows that are catered to us, right? For us, by us, which I'm one of those too. But I got to go for the other shows too because they sell. This show is called The Hunting Wives. So The Hunting Wives is a Netflix exclusive TV series starring none other but the wonderful Brittany Snow. And let me tell you something about Brittany Snow now. I knew her. I first watched her as an actress in this movie called John Tucker Must Die. Good movie. Funny as hell. If you know, you know. If you were from that generation and you know, if you know, you know. Brittany Snow is one of those actresses that really gets it done. She really goes out and do what she does, and I think it works for her, right? She is a phenomenal actress. I gotta say it, she's really good at what she does as an actress. So it's good to see her back into the limelight of things and back to her doing her thing when it comes down to her acting, right? So 6.5 out of 10 for IMDb. Again, that's kind of an F if you think about grading score. 75% Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, I get it. I can't say it's a good show to me. Can't say it's going to beat all the other top movies that's on Netflix right now that's got 100% rating and all this. I can't say that. But they tried. They tried something, right? Now, The Hunting Wives is about this lady, a girl who is her name, Brittany Snow's character, Sophie, traced the city life of for East Texas and falls into a wealthy societal magnet orbit where a clique of housewives hide deadly secrets. Again, it is one of those shows where it's like a housewife type of show, but it's not a reality show. Very, very country. When it comes down to it. So Sophie O'Neill is played by Brittany Snow. And, she is married to Evan. I might butcher their name. Evan Gunnikitet. I probably butchered that name. Played by, he's playing this character, Graham O'Neill. And they're the couples that's coming from Boston, Massachusetts. And they moved to East Texas for Graham's job, right? So Graham is working for what's his name? He is a fantastic actor. He's been in a lot of great stuff here too. Let me see if I can get his name pulled up here. Oh, he's not listed on IMDb. Oh yeah, yes he is. Dermot Mulroney. He plays Jed Banks, and Jed Banks is kind of the rich guy. He's political. He's running for governor. Dermot Mulroney. He's played a lot of great characters. A lot of great characters. A lot of good movies. Right. So he's really good at what he does. So that's who Graham O'Neill works for, and then Jeb Banks, played by Dermot Mulroney, is he's married to Margot Banks. That's the character name, played by Melaine Ackerman. So Melaine Ackerman and Brittany Snow, they're kind of like the stars of it. And then they're going around this circle here where Margot and her friends, they're all like Taylor and Monet. Of course they had the black girl named Monet, right? I'm kidding. They all are housewives. So they all married into the rich society. Their husbands are rich and they're doing all the work while the housewives are just being the housewife, right? Maintaining the house, taking care of the kids, right? So they're going through all of this orbit, and there's a hidden secret because Brad is the son of one of the ladies, not Margot, but one of the ladies, and Brad has a love interest with Margot Banks, one of the housewives, right? Sophie has kind of a small affair with another cast member that's in the show. He is playing let's see. He's playing Jamie. Sorry, I had to squint from my computer. He's playing Jamie, and that's Chosen Jacobs, who's playing Jamie. So there's a whole love affair that, these housewives, they might like him a little young, right, in this show, and that's one secret, right? Another secret from Sophie is Sophia, they moved from Boston for the new job, but Sophie also had it to where she was in an accident. She was drinking and driving. So she was drinking, she was drunk, she was high, she was driving, and she hit somebody and she killed somebody. So that's her deadly secret. And is one of those stories where you go to a different state to kind of alleviate all of those things. I've done this back in Boston. I'm in a different state. I'm starting way over. So that's kind of the origin of that story. And then you had Abby. Abby's another favorite of mine. She's one of the characters that was dating Brad. Now they're both in high school, but Brad likes Margot Banks, and Abby, played by Madison Wolfe. Abby knows that Brad is stepping out on her with an older woman because they just attract older women, right? So Abby goes around trying to find Brad, trying to confront Brad, and turns out that she ended up getting shot. And I got to say, she got shot by somebody. I don't know who she got shot with because, again, I haven't finished the full episode or the full series quite just yet, but I wanted to talk about it here on the show. I think the only innocent person in the show is Jack O'Neill. Jack O'Neill is the young son. He's played Emmett Moss plays Jack O'Neill. He is Sophie and Grant's son, right? The little 5-year-old, 6-year-old. So he's like the innocent one of it all. And then you had Star, played by Chrissy Metz. Chrissy Metz been in a lot of great stuff, right? She's a phenomenal actress as well. She's playing, she's Abby's mom. I'm up to the point now that she's grieving because obviously Abby is dead. She got shot. And the thing is, within the episode so far, they're trying to pin Abby getting shot on Brad, right? You always got to accuse the boyfriend. The boyfriend did it, right? So it's just one of those things that it does happen when it comes down to it. Chrissy Metz doing their thing with her. And now at the beginning, she was trying to befriend Margot, Monet, Callie, Taylor, and even Sophie. She was trying to be a part of the clique, but obviously she's not part of the clique because her character may not be a size 0, not be as perky, not be as, I don't want to say not be as beautiful because Christy Metz, she is beautiful, right? But she's not to the standard of these skinny, meaty women, right? You're trying to have that attraction going. So that's where that all comes in, and that's how the story kind of unfolds. So far, again, I haven't finished the full series quite just yet, but I do like it. And now you've got Hunter Emery and Karen Rodriguez. They're both police officers. They're trying to uncover the truth of who shot Abby. Like I say, this show is good so far. It is a watch. I mean, I've watched it and I've started to like it a little bit more. I do like it that Netflix is trying to be like HBO, not trying to get gross on the show, but this is a show where you're going to see a lot of intimate moments. You see a lot of explicitness in the show. And they have this formula like HBO. If they had it, I would say this. If this show had executives from HBO working on this thing, HBO probably would have made this show because this feels like an HBO original show to me. But obviously it's on Netflix. I would not be surprised if, for some reason, God forbid, they get canceled on Netflix. But Netflix is a slippery slope. You got to be careful. If for some reason they try to cancel this show on Netflix and HBO sees this show and say, "Hey, this show's pretty good. Let me go ahead and let's pick this up. Let's remake it. Let's redo it." Right? I wouldn't be surprised if HBO did something like that. Will they do something like that? I don't know. And then you've got, I forgot to mention Callie, who's played by Jamie Ray Newman. Callie likes Margot. They have a love interest there. But I also forgot to mention Sophie O'Neill starting to like Margot Banks and starting to like what she does and to really get in there and to really do their thing. And then now they have a love interest, right? So very, very interesting with this story and the conflict and the story outlet of it all. I can't wait to see more. I'm really happy about all of the actors and actresses that are in this show. It's good to see Brittany Snow in a big show. Brittany Snow, again, she's been in a lot of great things. Again, like I mentioned, John Tucker Must Die. I saw another horror thriller movie she's in called Prom. This was shows that when I was a kid, right, I watched because, we were kids, we watched these shows. But it feels good to see her back. And she looked fine. She looked really, really fine in this show. So I love it. I'm here for it. Shout out to the Hutton Wives. I will continue on watching this show and give more feedback on this show. Again, I do hope they get renewed, but hey, they're on Netflix. They don't have phenomenal scoring for Rotten Tomatoes quite just yet. So who knows? Coming up next, I wanted to talk about this thing real quick. I tend to get inspiration for more podcasters nowadays. And I love that I get my inspiration from podcasters. I doubt Mr. Joe Budden is watching the show. I doubt it, right? He's 20 million up. I doubt it. But I've started podcasting in 2015 because I saw a Joe Budden along with Joe Rogan, but Joe Budden and other podcasters in 2015 started to do this thing, and they just had a simple setup. I wanted to give, probably there's going to be a blurb on Instagram and social media. Again, I'm not harping on this man's ish, right? But I'm glad to see Joe Budden is winning in podcasting because it teaches us, the smaller podcast shows that's trying to get out there too, that anything is possible, right? Now, I've been an avid Joe Budden fan, not just from his podcast, but I've been a fan of him in Slaughterhouse, right? I listen to Slaughterhouse a lot when I work out. Joe Budden himself as a solo act, artist, producer, I like his work. Do I think Joe Budden could still rap today if he came back? Sure. But he's not coming back because this podcasting thing is his thing now. New York Times reported that Joe Budden could reveal that he makes over $1 million per month in Patreon with a net revenue of $20 million a year with the Joe Budden Network. Now, I listened to their recent show. I kind of felt like some of it, they said some of it was true, but some of it was not, right? I don't know. I'm not in the man's pocket. I don't know. I'm just going by what I read on New York Times. I humble that. First to Joe Budden, I want to say congratulations. Like, dope. Honestly, really, really dope. I like to see bigger podcast platforms win like this because now it motivates me as a podcaster to say, hey, maybe I should do something different, right? I've listened to Joe Budden. I say, well, Joe Budden did this. Let me see if I can do that, but put a spin on it, right? I like the way he podcasts. I like the way he has multiple co-stars on the show and they're talking about some real deep stuff. I like their jokes they make. Like every joke they make on the show, I'm in the car listening and I'm laughing, right? I'm having a great time listening to the Joe Budden podcast. Or if I am working on editing something, I got the Joe Budden podcast playing in the background, right? I envy that. I really do. I do like the Joe Budden Podcast Network because they are independent. Obviously, if you guys know K.L.P Entertainment, we are independent as well. Smaller, but we're independent. So it just kind of shows you that this thing does work. The independent factor, and I think Joe Budden doesn't plan on getting partnered with iHeart or Spotify. Not shit talk on iHeart because we got them as a sponsor, but Joe Budden's not going to want to sign with it because he's independent and he knows his worth. He knows the value there. I do like all the co-stars, right? Or the other stars, Ice, Parks, Imani, Mark Lamont Hill, Melanie Ford, right? I love the other stars that are in the show. I don't even want to say co-stars because they're part of it. Just to see them elevate the world of hip hop, right? They have people who in the hip hop industry come on the show, interview. They're talking about music. They're talking about sports. They're talking about a whole lot of things, and they're very knowledgeable about what they're talking about, right? I've heard a lot of podcasts where they tend to, people have podcasts that don't have much to say, right? And I think as a podcaster and a broadcaster, you got to have some things to talk about. You can't just talk about a subject and say, okay, that's all I have to say. No, dive into that. And that's what I think Joe Budden and cast and crew, they dive into it. And I'm really a fanboy because I watch their behind the scenes, and to see all them cameras and the lights, and that's $1 million right there. The equipment, they got like 6 cameras and 4 light kits and 6 mics, and they have a control room. Like, that's really dope. Big shout out to Joe Budden. Again, I don't want to ride his dick so like that, but like I really love the form of the Joe Budden podcast. Guys, you haven't heard of Joe Budden? You need to listen to Joe Budden podcast. I do think in the hip hop realm of podcasting, Joe Budden is number 1. No one can beat him right now. I get it. We got Drink Champs. We got Club Shay Shay. We got Rory and Mal. I do watch them too, Rory and Mal. I do watch their podcasts as well. I think they're dope. They used to work under Joe Budden too, but they went and found their own thing. I think a lot of people, hey, everybody in the black podcast space is great, right? Because we're in that circle now. But you can't beat Joe Budden right now. Joe Budden's up there. Shout out to Joe Budden. Like I say, would I like to work for Joe Budden for his podcast? Hell yeah, I would. But again, I don't know him. He doesn't know me. But I just got to big up him to being a black creator, because we're all black creators in this space, and to see that he's doing that really, really well. For people who say he had a failed rap career, I don't think he had a failed rap career. He just pivoted and he found something of more of an interest. I don't think, will he be back rapping? He probably could. He's not going to do that. Podcasting is his thing, right? I heard that the rise and fall of Slaughterhouse, and Joel Ortiz said, yeah, Mouse is making that podcast money. Mouse is making that podcast money. So ain't shit else you can say about that, Joel Ortiz. He's making that podcast money. He's very successful at it. But shout out to the Joe Budden podcast and crew. From us, small podcast show here in Atlanta, Georgia. Big ups to Joe Budden podcast up there in Jersey. Love to hear it. So before we wrap the podcast here today, I do have one thing I want to talk to you guys about, this new thing that is out right now, the hottest new thing that everybody is tweeting about so far when it comes down to it. And I'm trying to get my, what are we doing? We trying to get our, trying to get my notes here because I saved it. There it is. People, backpacks. Let's talk about backpacks. Now, there's this new backpack that's called the Air Pack, designed by Brave Studio in New York. And basically what it is a giant backpack that looks like your AirPods case. And they had the actual, like the AirPods, you could you put stuff in it, obviously. It doesn't have a gigantic AirPod in it. It's supposed to look like your AirPods. And it's really dope because it's been going viral all over in the city of New York. I haven't seen them in Chicago. And I think this would be kind of really cool to get as a backpack. Now, of course, they make the backpack where it's your AirPods. They had 2 carrying cases that goes inside, and it looks like your AirPods. I think it's really, really dope. Great marketing strategy in New York. They had this big billboard in New York. I know that must have cost them a lot of money. Billboards in New York. If you're trying to get your billboard in New York, that's very, very, very dope. Joe Budden had his net where he was on Times Square, that billboard. That was pretty cool. But I know that costs money to get a billboard put up in the streets of New York to get eyes on it. And I think it's great marketing strategy. But Brave Studios, they make this thing and it looks really, really dope to see that people are rocking around with the AirPods. It really is. It's a fashion statement, I will say. It is a fashion statement because obviously, you're repping Apple. I wonder how Brave Studio was able to get the copyright for Apple, right? You got to be careful because Apple does own all their patents, obviously. So when you're trying to get something licensed, an Apple product licensed under your name for a studio and a company, that's hard to get, right? But somehow they got it to you. They got it in. They got it made. And they're able to create something like this will be a fashion statement. You tweeting about it, Instagramming about it. People are walking the streets. This is going to make people say, what is that? And how can I get one? Right? So you can get one right now. Let's see what the cost is. Of course, AirPods drop alert. Let's see where you can get one of those. Oh, it's one of these. So it's a drop alert. So they're dropping a quantity at a time. So you got to put in your email address, which I will do because that might be something I'd like to get. And they have it to where you're signing up to purchase one from Bravest Studios. And of course, they also do have other stuff. They have shoes, they have clothing, they have a clothing brand. So I admire their humbleness with this. I'm looking at their website now with their t-shirts. Some of it is decently priced. They do have some very premium products on here too. So you just got to be careful how you purchase your items here. Really, really cool to see that they're doing something really, really dope. I'm interested in the AirPack book bag. I think that'll be a great fashion statement when it comes down to it. But hey, they're doing something. They're doing something very, very dope out there in New York. And that's going to be really, really awesome to see they do their thing there as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up the podcast for today. Please remember to check in tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing Bro Code Podcast when we give you the latest in sports news. So, again, you don't want to miss out on that as well. And check out all of our content. Again, this show, Bro Code Podcast, the Johnny and David Show. Check us out on all social media outlets, all audio platforms you get your podcast from, and also on the K.L.P. Entertainment Radio Station Hub, where we have the house of all of our content right then and there. You guys do not want to miss it. We'll catch you guys on the next podcast episode. Until then, stay swanky, stay safe, peace.
Go, what's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P. Entertainment and K.L.P. Studios. Go! It's K.L.P. Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
Made it.